All right, guys. Coach here with Rafael Casias. Casias, is that how you pronounce it in Spanish? How do you say it in Spanish?
Casillas.
Casillas. Rafael Casias. We're doing a podcast here. We're mic'd up. So as you can see, this is our 5th podcast, and we already got fucking microphones. I got a little remote tripod. We're not doing this one in my truck this time. We're doing it here at Rafael's place. So what do you want to talk about, Rafael?
Yeah, whatever.
Yeah.
Whatever. You ask and I'll give you my opinions or I'll answer questions. I like to talk.
So let's start with you got fights coming up. When's the next XKO fight coming up?
Right now I'm about halfway done, maybe a little bit more than halfway done with the April 7th card. That's going to be at Texas Live, and I also started working on the May 26th card, and that will also be at Texas Live.
Okay. So I don't know if everybody knows this, but Rafael, not only is he a boxing coach, a very good boxing coach, one of the best around, one of the best in the game. He's got a lot of experience coaching fighters in the little leagues all the way to the big leagues. And also he's a matchmaker. So for XKO, for those of you who don't know, it's Extreme Knockout. It's an organization here in Dallas, Fort Worth, probably the biggest local MMA organization in Dallas, Fort Worth. And so Rafael is the official matchmaker. So how does that walk us through? For those of us who watch UFC and watch fighting, we all think we could be a matchmaker. We all think it's easy. We all think everybody thinks they can do it. It seems like a fun job. But take us through like how it all works. You wake up and how do you go from there?
Man, it's very fun. It's extremely fun, but it's a ton of headache. I don't want to have to do this, but I have to put fighters on blast. Like a lot of them are not, they just don't do what I ask them to do. The worst part of matchmaking is chasing medicals. I've been in this game for 15 years. I probably matched 30 shows. I think my first show was like in 2013 or something like that. And it was terrible then and it's terrible now. These guys have deadlines, and I used to give them to the last deadline that the state has. Now I set a deadline way in advance because if you're not going to get your medicals, I'm just gonna rebook your opponent against somebody else. So that's the hard part. But typical, the way it works is Thomas will give me a date. Thomas is one of the owners of XKO. He'll give me a date, and I got a list of coaches and fighters. I send out a mass text. I say, hey guys, I'm matching for this date. Send me a list of fighters you have available. I create a database for that date, and then I go and start making matches together. I offer the fights to the coaches, negotiate purses if they're pros. What else? Just negotiate any negotiations that have to be taking place, and I handle that. And then as soon as we get agreements on that, I send out contracts and start working on medicals if they're needed and start trying to push the shows.
So what's the hardest part about being a matchmaker? Just, is it the guys just not doing their medicals and dropping out of the fights? And
well, chasing medicals always sucks. It's a fight game and people train hard, right? And they get hurt. That's probably the toughest part. Is calling somebody and say, hey, you're not going to fight because, and we're a week, 2 weeks out, right? This kid already put in 8 weeks and he's been training, ready to go. And then I have to tell him that his opponent's pulling out. Sometimes I can find a short notice guy. A lot of times I can't. So there's a lot of wasted money for these fighters. A lot of wasted time and energy. So it's that's really tough for me.
So you guys make sure to stay tuned, man. Some of these XKO fights, there's some great fights, man. I fought for them before, and some of my fighters are fighting for XKO. It's a great organization. And then shout out to Antonio, our buddy Antonio. He is the voice of XKO. He does the ring announcements and all that stuff, man. He's a great dude, but he was in a pretty bad motorcycle accident. And so shout out to you, man. You're in our prayers, and hope to stop by the hospital soon to visit you. I don't know if they're letting you have visitors right now, but love you, brother. And it's gonna be it was weird that first event without him recently.
Yeah,
that was weird without
that
Antonio
was
being there.
It was definitely different. I spoke to a source that says he should be back soon.
Oh, nice.
Sooner than later.
Yeah.
He's getting better, and I mean, like he said, all my prayers go out to him, and I can't wait to have him back because he's definitely a vital part of that organization.
Man, and he's got an amazing voice, man.
It's something else.
He was made for that.
Oh yeah,
he was made for announcing fights, man.
My daughter calls him Britney Spears because he switches jackets all the time.
He'll switch jackets. He's got that swag, man. He's got that style, man.
Yeah,
Antonio's got that swag. He's got that style.
Antonio's great.
Yeah, he's good. And then switching gears. So you started out as a boxer. Is that how you got into martial arts, or did you start out in karate, or how did you get into martial arts?
So yeah, I was boxing back home. I had like 5 amateur fights. Then when we moved over here,
where's back home? Where are you from?
Back home, I'm from Pleasanton, Texas.
Oh, okay.
That's not far from you. Yes, you have, bro.
Pleasanton?
You're from Corpus, right?
Yeah, but
straight up 37 281.
See, I don't know all the free because I grew up in Corpus when I was a kid, and then when I left home at 15, and I wasn't driving back then, so I don't know all the streets.
Okay, so from Corpus to San Antonio, there's Highway 281.
Mm-hmm.
You take that all the way to San Antonio, 28 miles before you get to San Antonio, you'll hit Pleasanton.
Okay, I've probably been there. I've probably eaten there. I probably drove through there.
There's a chance.
Yeah.
But I'm from there. I lived there till I was about. Man, I don't even know. I'm 42. I think we've been here going on 19 years. Almost.
Dang, we're the same age, man. I'm pushing 43. You're 42. Like, we're old, man.
Yeah.
Yeah. No.
I'm not young anymore, bro. And I'm okay with that.
Yeah, I'm okay with it too.
Listen.
Age gracefully, baby.
Yes, I'm like a bottle of fine wine.
So you left home from Pleasanton. You had 5 amateur fights. You left home. How old were you when you left home and you came to Fort Worth?
My wife and I moved originally to Grapevine because she's got family there.
Grapevine, Texas.
We stayed a couple weeks with one of her uncles. Found our own place, and we lived in Grapevine for a couple years. Then we moved to Euless. Then we moved to Fort Worth. I think we've been in Fort Worth probably since about 07, 08. Yeah.
And so did you continue fighting when you got to Grapevine, or?
So when I got to Grapevine, I wasn't fighting. I wasn't doing anything good in my life. I ended up picking up a gym. I had a friend that was going to Moeller's. Moeller's was the first place I went to. I trained with George Probowski. Mm-hmm. He was my first boxing coach.
So George used to teach people boxing at Moeller's gym?
Oh yeah.
Okay, I didn't know that.
Way back when.
Okay, I didn't know that.
This was like 2002, 2003.
Oh wow.
Yeah. I trained at Moeller's when he was in a spot that was half the size of All American.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
All American's another gym for those of you who don't know.
Yeah.
We're talking.
You know what I'm talking about.
I know
how big All American is.
Yeah.
It was like the first mat area. Mm-hmm. It was about that size.
Oh wow.
It was a very
and now
small
he's
place.
blown up, man.
Moeller's he's done so awesome.
He's a legend in the community as far as coaching, gyms. He's done it all, man.
He is.
He's done it all.
He's very smart business wise.
Yeah.
He's definitely somebody I look up to in that aspect.
And so you were training under George.
I trained under George. I had a couple fights. After that, I think I wanted to turn pro, and George said I wasn't ready. I ended up going to another coach, turned pro. Turns out George was right. I wasn't ready. I lost my first fight, and then I just kind of gave it up for a couple years. Then when we moved over here to Fort Worth, mm-hmm. I joined LA Boxing. And Johnny Bedford was the head coach there. He was the head trainer. He saw that I knew what I was doing when I was taking like cardio classes because I just wanted to get in shape.
Yeah.
I just went over there because I was fat. I wanted to get in shape. He saw that I knew what I was doing, and he ended up hiring me as a as a boxing coach there, and that's where I got my start. From there, within the first 6 months, I went from coaching cardio classes to coaching amateur boxers to coaching him to managing fighters. Um, I got to help some guys in their careers early. I got to help Bedford, Skelly, Will Camposano. Uh, so it was fun. Evan Cuts. I had a lot of opportunity to. I mean, Bedford gave me my start in coaching. So
That's awesome, man. And so, like, you went to. Did you ever go back to fighting, or was that it?
yeah, that's where it happened. I started coaching, and then I don't even know what happened. All of a sudden, I'm fighting.
Again,
I couldn't tell you. I don't remember exactly how it happened.
yeah.
But all of a sudden, I'm fighting. Maybe it was because we used to go fight, and I'm an attention whore. Maybe I like the attention that came with it.
Mm.
So I think that might be why I started again. I can't tell you exactly what happened that made me start, but I started fighting again.
You started doing boxing or MMA?
Yeah, I
or?
started doing boxing.
Okay.
But I'll give you a funny MMA story later. But I started doing boxing. I was a journeyman fighter. I never took it 100% serious. I took a lot of fights on short notice. Usually had a beer and a cigarette in my hand whenever they called me. You want to fight in 2 weeks, next week? Yeah, fuck it, let's fight.
Yeah.
So that's kind of how my career went. From while I was boxing there, I met who did I meet? I met Jabbar. Jabbar Hurd is a good friend of mine. He's actually he was a good amateur here. I met him. We became really good friends. He introduced me to Vincent Reyes and Tony Cabello. So then I did most of my pro career with those two. Half of it with Vince, half of it with Tony. I think I won all my fights with Tony Cabello. Shout out Tony. Vincent is
Shout
still
out.
Vincent is still one of my best friends, mentors. I call him all the time. And yeah, that's pretty much how it went.
So, what made you stop fighting? When did you decide to make that transition from okay, I'm no longer fighting, I want to just get into coaching?
I was already coaching at the time, but when I fought Tank Davis, which was January 20th, I think 2013, Tank was like 2-0, 3-0 maybe. Tank beat the shit out of me, and I had some nerve damage in my eye after that fight. My wife was pregnant then with my son, and she's like, "Hey, I want you to not fight anymore. We're about
Tank's
to have
a
another
fucking
son."
beast, man.
Oh, bro, he's the only person I ever got in the ring with that after I was done, I was like, I didn't have no business in that ring.
Damn.
Like when I tried to hit him, he was way ahead of me. When he tried to hit me, he was way ahead of me.
And he hits hard, man. I heard he hits like a mule, man. I heard he hits like a light heavyweight.
Where's my scar at? On the eyebrow.
Oh, okay. I think it's
This one?
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I
this
see it
one.
right here. Yeah.
2 months before I fought Tank, I fought in San Antonio and I got headbutt. First time I ever had got cut, and I got 17 stitches. Shout out to Vince because that's an awesome story. Vincent told me I had a scratch, and I didn't realize that they were trying to stop the fight after each round.
Oh,
Vincent was great at communicating with me, and I believe that's a trust you have to have with your coaches, right? And he just told me, he's like, "It's a scratch. You're good."
Keep going.
The doctor's looking at it. I didn't even realize that why the doctor's in there, right? And he's like, "It's a scratch." So to me, I just had a scratch until I had to get 17 stitches after the fight.
Yeah.
So that was 2 months before I fought Tank. The first time Tank hit me, that thing opened up bad. I ended up getting 19 stitches that time.
Dang.
After the fight, we went to Baltimore, the hospital in Baltimore, which sucks. I waited there all night to get 19 stitches. Ended up going from there straight to the hotel to get our stuff, go to the airport. Like we didn't even sleep that night.
Dang.
Yeah.
But so was that the fight that your wife was like, that's it, no more?
Yeah, my wife said, she said, please don't. And I was like, okay, cool. I tried to make a couple comebacks, but I just couldn't put the work in. Like I was already 33, 34 at that time. I just couldn't. I wasn't disciplined. So I would get hit a couple of times and it just didn't feel the same anymore. After you get old, it doesn't. I made a career being a journeyman, being able to give prospects rounds. I couldn't do that anymore. I couldn't, like, it hurt. It used to not hurt. Now it hurts.
Yeah. Damn. But it's for the best, man. And life's a journey. So you go through these little journeys. And did you always want to be a fighter growing up?
I always wanted to fight, but as a kid, I was raised a lot. I lived with my grandmother and my aunt a lot. And my aunt worked for a doctor
Mm.
who was very big into boxing. Like he used to do the physicals for Jesse James Leija, El Matador, Chavez, and she used to see these boxers come in and how they were all beat up. They had their speech wasn't good anymore and stuff like that. So she would never let me box. We had a boxing coach there. Um, Finally, I ended up boxing starting when I was like 18 or 19 years old. But I didn't want to. My first love was baseball.
Mm.
I had an opportunity to go play some college ball. I screwed around, didn't take it because I was in love with this girl. She's still my wife. Shout out, Monique. Um, but yeah, I wanted to be a baseball coach after when I got out of school. That was my dream, to be a
Mm.
baseball coach.
So you always wanted to be a coach in some
I
capacity.
wanted to be a baseball coach.
Right.
Yeah,
And now you're a boxing
people
coach.
ask me how'd you become, why did you come, how did you become a boxing coach? I'm like, I just fell into it.
Mm.
I wasn't looking to do it. It just happened.
Yeah.
Some people, I have
It's life.
one of my best friends says it's a calling for me because I love to help people. So,
Yeah. And you're great at it. You're a great boxing coach,
thank
man.
you.
Yeah, I hear all the feedback and everybody, and I've seen, you've coached at the highest levels. I mean, so take us through some of that, like some of the, you know, coaching at the little leagues and the big leagues. And
I've coached amateur boxers, kids as young as 8 years old. Those are the best. Those are the best to coach because they just it's tough sometimes because they're crying when they lose, but man, that smile when they get that first win after putting in a lot of work in the gym, there's nothing like it.
yeah.
Nothing at all. I've coached that. I've coached fighters on the regional scene. Um, I've coached in the UFC, Bellator, uh, bare knuckle boxing. We won a world championship together, Johnny Bedford and I. But yeah,
So out of all the organizations where there's little leagues or big leagues, which one did you like coaching for the best?
well, I only coached one fight in the UFC with
Mm.
Johnny because he and I split up after his first fight in the UFC.
Mm.
They were great though, but I've done about 6 or 7 fights now with Bellator, and they treat us good.
Mm.
They treat us good with Lucas.
Mm.
Uh,
Lucas
yeah,
Brennan, shout out.
Yeah,
He's the future, man. That kid's he's a beast, man. If you guys don't know, Lucas Brennan's the real deal, man.
He is. He is, and we've got a fight scheduled. I think March 31st in LA. So we'll be out there with Bellator as well.
Who's he? Do you know who he's fighting?
Kid's name is San Diego. Last name is San Diego.
Okay.
I gotta look it up again.
Yeah.
But yeah, Bellator treats us good. Chris has a really good relationship. Chris is Lucas's dad. If you don't know, Chris Brennan, the West Side Strangler.
He's a legend, man.
He's a
MMA legend.
He's an
man.
OG. I was listening to a
UFC
podcast.
Pride. He's a fucking OG, man.
Yeah, I love that guy, and he's been great to me.
Yeah.
So, but he's got a really good relationship with Bellator, and I mean, he's got a good relationship with the UFC too.
Mm-hmm.
But they treat us good. They treat us really good. I used to love during COVID was awesome. We were fighting at the what hotel is it? It's a hotel in Connecticut, and it's not Foxwoods. Regardless, we were fighting at the hotel in Connecticut, and they used to make us quarantine. So I would get 3 days off. My first 2 days were spent in the hotel, just doing room service on Bellator's tab, and all I did was eat chocolate cake. They have the best chocolate cake, bro. They have the best chocolate cake, and yeah, maybe that's why I think Bellator is number one because I eat so much chocolate cake.
That's funny, man.
Yeah.
So, what are some things that you've learned coming up through the years? I mean, you had some good times, some bad times, some crazy times. I mean, and then dealing with the fighter's emotions, like, how's that as a coach too?
I think when I was younger, coaching and dealing with fighters was tough because I used to take things real personal. Like if they hurt, I hurt. Um, Sometimes fighters blame you. Sometimes I would blame myself, like for losses and stuff. I like if my fighters lost, I felt like I failed them. Today I'm older and I understand losses are part of the game. Very rare do you see an undefeated fighter, right? And sometimes that's just part of the game. Um, when fighters now feel bad, I understand. I try to be there for them, and I just try to, if I think they need space, I let them have their space, and then I try to remind them that hey, there's not a lot of undefeated boxers or fighters, period.
It's a fight
So
game.
it's part of the game, and I think advice to fighters that are new: that loss is not the end of the world.
Yeah.
It's not. A lot of times what it does is it shows you it shows people who you're really going to be. Chris Brennan always talks about the difference between Conor McGregor and Ronda Rousey, right? When Ronda got her first loss, like she kind of went on a spiral. When Conor got his first loss, he went back and came back for the title. He wanted to fight the guy that beat him. Like, there's two different scenarios there, right? Two different types of people.
Right. How are you going to react from a loss? It shows a lot of character.
Yeah.
Yeah. It shows you what you're made of. It shows your character. Because everybody can win. Everybody's fucking happy when times are good. Everybody's happy when times are good. But let shit hit the fan. That's going to reveal who the fuck you really are.
Yeah.
When times are bad. When you don't get, when you lose, when you fucking are sad, when times get rough with relationships or with work or whatever, man, that shit's going to expose a lot of things.
And it's tough on fighters. I had a fighter win a world championship in bare knuckle boxing. For the next week, he was just getting messages. That night, like his phone wouldn't stop. Phone wouldn't stop. Message, Facebook message, instant message, text message, Instagram, and messages everywhere, right? But when we lost that world title, it was just me and him in that locker room.
Yep.
Nobody called. Nobody texted. And that's the ups and downs of the game, man. Sometimes when you're up, everybody's going to be with you. And when you're down, the real people are going to be there.
Yeah. I see it all the time with the Cowboys. Shout out Cowboys. I see the fans, man. Like, I don't watch team sports at all whatsoever. I never do. But I see, I live in Dallas and I see people, they love the Mavs, they love the Cowboys, and just seeing the fans' reactions when they're up, when they're winning. And then the fans, that when they're down, they fucking kick them while they're down, man.
Yeah.
And it's
First off, go Spurs.
Go Spurs. Yeah. So same thing with the Spurs, man. I'm sure they got, when they
they're
win.
terrible these days.
Are they?
They're terrible these days.
Oh, so they got
that's okay. I'm still a fan.
Yeah, you're still, because you're a real fan.
I'm still a fan.
You're a real fan.
I'm still a Cowboys fan.
Yeah.
But I learned not to get emotionally involved. I see these guys throwing their remotes at the TVs and breaking TVs. I'm like, bro, why? Like, you broke the TV, the team still lost.
Yeah.
They ain't changed shit. Now you just gotta go spend $600 on TV.
Yeah.
So it don't make any sense. I used to get hurt like that though. I used to get, man, it ruined my day. My team lose, I might not go to work for 3 days because I'm drunk.
God damn.
But I don't pay attention to it that much. Not anymore. And
so, like, how does, as a coach, you've coached, hundreds, maybe even thousands of fighters over the years. You know what I mean? Because, you're doing group classes, you're doing individual, you're doing private training. So you've literally probably coached thousands of people over the years. And some people, maybe one time they came to one class, but out of 365 days, I mean, you got all these people coming in, and as a coach, a lot of people, they're not serious. They say they want to get in shape. They say they want to lose weight. They say they want to fight. Most people aren't about doing shit. They just talk. But how, as a coach, do you have you learned to keep it business and not get so attached when these fighters want to go to another gym, or they don't want to work with you anymore, or how do you navigate that?
I used to be terrible at it. I used to get my feelings hurt if people would leave or they wanted to leave, or I couldn't make them stay. I couldn't get them to follow their goals. And today I'm not that person. I do a lot of reading. I try to learn a lot about not just myself, but learn about how other people react to stuff and things like that. Today I understand this whole life is a journey, right? And people are going to be in your life, and then they could be gone.
Yep.
I appreciate the fact that I got to be part of those people's journey, whether it was for years, whether it was for one day, and just take it for that.
Yeah.
I'm just like, if I was part of your journey, whether it was one class or we did a lot of big things, I take that for what it was.
Yeah. Sometimes it's time to cut them loose, or they cut loose, or whatever. Just like you said, it's a journey.
I've cut people loose. I've been cut loose.
Yeah.
And
can't take it
that's
personal.
just what it is.
Yeah, you can't take it personal.
Yeah.
That's one of my coaches and mentors. When I first started coaching in 2012, I was getting some feedback from Coach Cena with Ironside MMA. He just retired from coaching. He just sold his gym. But I learned a lot from him over the years. And that's one of the biggest things he told me. He said, if you're going to coach, you're going to be a coach. The first thing you got to learn is non-attachment and to not take things personal. Because, these people are on their own journey and you're on your own journey. And life's going to take you wherever. But he also said that's the hardest part.
It's definitely
it's the hardest part is not getting attached to these, because you have your own lives, you have your own family, and then these fighters, these athletes, they become your family.
Yeah,
they become your actual family too. So you have like two families. You have two homes. You have your gym home. You have your home here, and then you got your gym family, and you got your home, and then you got to like navigate that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's difficult. I mean, anybody that knows me knows I used to train my best friend, and then all of a sudden we weren't friends anymore.
Wow, that's hard.
I took it, and that happened twice with the same person, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the first time I took it extremely hard. The second time I was a little bit mad, but I learned that, like, after reading and learning and talking to my mentors and my confidants, I learned it's just part of the process. It's part of life, right?
Mm-hmm.
People come, people go, and I just appreciate the experiences that we had, whoever it was, and that's what it was.
Yeah, you've been at the highest highs and the lowest lows of the sport. As the highest, as far as you got guys winning world championships, world titles, to the lows of maybe you taking a bad loss, or some of your fighters taking a bad loss. And so, walk us through, how do you get through that when fighters are hurting or you're hurting, and then also the you've won a world championship, you feel like you made it, like.
Well, I've never felt like I made it. I feel like I've done some good things. I've never felt like I made it. My own personal demons have kept me from feeling like that, I think. And I still continue to work on stuff like that. But the worst part as a coach, which has happened to me, I think, 2 times, worst thing I've ever had to deal with as a coach is watching one of my fighters get knocked out. Yeah, one of them had to go to the hospital right afterwards. The other, like he was. I remember they asked him where he was, and we were in Austin. And when they asked him where he was he was like, "I'm at the fair."
Oh shit!
And like I was like, "Fuck."
Yeah.
And you can't help them. All you can do is just. It's very tough to console a fighter who just fucking lost a fight.
Yep.
And then console them after they got knocked out.
Yeah.
Like, it's crazy. I've had 2 fighters just get put to sleep, like dead asleep.
Damn.
That's tough as a coach, man. That's really tough as a coach.
It's hard, man. It's hard. And just dealing with those emotions and seeing them, some of them flip out, and some of them just go into like a dark place, and some of them take it pretty well, and everybody's different, but it's hard to deal with those, to navigate those emotions. Yeah. And then you got to deal with your own emotions too.
Yeah.
Fighting's an emotional sport, man. Fighters are emotional people. People think, oh, you're a fighter, you don't have any feelings, you don't have any. That's bullshit. The best fighters are the most sensitive, because you got to be sensitive to be able to read people. You got to be sensitive to know that a punch is coming, to know that a kick is coming, a choke or whatever. You got to be in tune, man. You can't be like a zombie. You got to be, like the best fighters, like Floyd Mayweather. Those guys, I mean, their sensitivity is so quick. You touch them, they react.
Oh yeah.
And so that's what people don't understand, is fighters are very sensitive, man.
Yeah. The emotional state of the fight game is it's tough, man. But it's just I understand today is just what we do. People are gonna get mad. People are gonna celebrate, and that's cool. I appreciate all the aspects.
Mm-hmm.
So
So how'd you get into what made you? So you just got into boxing just to get in shape? That's just pretty much it.
when I first started,
Yeah.
no, I was just hanging out with some guys that boxed, and
Okay.
they I had always wanted to go, and at this time I'm 18, so nobody can tell me no anymore.
Right.
So I did.
So you didn't even start till 18. So you
Yeah,
got
I
started
started
late in the
really
game.
late.
Late in the
I
game.
started really
yeah.
late.
Wow. Yeah, that's pretty late to get started. But you know, I've seen people start late and still have some great careers and
I've
still have
seen
some
some
great
world champions who started
late.
in
Yeah.
their late 20s.
Yep. I mean, Randy Couture didn't even get into MMA till he was in his 30s, and he's one of the legends, man.
Yeah.
He's one of the legends in the sport.
Yeah, I think
You know?
Bernard Hopkins, he might have started before, but I think he started learning how to box in prison.
Yeah, he got really good in prison. Started fucking people up in prison. Came out of prison and just went on a 10-year undefeated streak, man.
He's
the executioner,
legend, dude.
Bernard Hopkins,
Yeah.
man. If you guys don't know, Google him, and you know, Google all these guys we're talking about: Chris Brennan, Lucas Brennan. These guys, man, you guys got to know this stuff, man. If you're a fan, these are some people that'll help motivate you, and you can see their journey, man, and that'll help you on your journey too.
Yeah.
You know, and so yeah. So what were you gonna tell me? You said you had an MMA story, a crazy.
Oh
MMA
yeah, I had one MMA fight. So remember I said I got to manage fighters, right?
Right.
So I had some guys. There was a local show called SWC.
What does that stand for?
Supreme Warriors Championships.
Okay.
Shout out so David Sylvester. He used to own it and run that company. Well, I was managing fighters.
I had a conversation with that guy. I'll have to talk to you about that too.
Yeah.
Maybe.
I had Johnny Bedford. I had Chaz Skelly on this card. Okay. And at the time, there was a rule where you had to have X amount of, it was fights or rounds scheduled in order to have a show. Well, the promotion lost a fighter. And I get a call the day of weigh-ins.
Oh,
the morning
shit.
of weigh-ins. I got a call probably like 7 in the morning. And David says, "Hey, bro, I need a 135er." And I was like, "To fight who?" And it was to fight a guy that wasn't that great. And I couldn't think of anybody. So my first reaction was, let me see what I weigh.
So you're trying to see how close you were to 135 pounds?
Yeah. I was 135.4.
Oh, shit. You're already at weight.
So I was like,
damn.
I'll fucking take it.
Wow. And you weren't even an MMA guy.
I had the slightest amount of jiu-jitsu at the time. The slightest. Like, I was probably like a no-stripe white belt.
Oh my god.
So I had the slightest amount of jiu-jitsu. I went to weigh-ins. I weighed in. I looked pregnant because I made the guy that I was gonna fight made a comment. He's like, "Looks like you're fucking pregnant." I say, "Yeah, my baby's gonna punch you in the face tomorrow." And we went to weigh-ins, weighed in, got to the show the next day. We're ready to fight. I'm warming up, and I don't know what happened, but the guy that I was gonna fight went outside and never came back. His coach came in with the gloves, said, "Hey, this guy's not fighting." Lost his mouthpiece.
Oh shit!
Chad Skelly was with us, had a brand new one in his bag. He said, "Here, take it to him. You can boil it in the kitchen." Guy said, so he took the mouthpiece, ended up bringing it back. Said, "Yeah, he's not gonna fight." So I didn't end up fighting. I got paid because I helped save the show, but
yeah,
I didn't get to fight.
Oh man, that dude he didn't want to fight.
I don't think so.
He didn't want to fight, making those excuses about the mouthpiece and shit like that.
Yeah.
But it is hard. Like me personally, I've always fought with custom mouth guards because I can't, for some reason, man, these mouth guards that are not custom and you just throw that fucker in there. Even if you boil it, it's always falling out. It's hard to breathe. But the custom ones, I can leave them in there and I love them. But yeah, I don't know how people can just grab one and just bite down and not even boil it. And they just go, so I've seen people just go in there and just
I've seen that. I fought most of my career with a $3 mouth guard from Walmart.
I don't know how you do it, man.
But I do have a custom mouth guard that I've probably had since about 2009.
Right.
And still use it.
Yeah. I don't know how you do it, man, with those cheap ones. I mean, the cheap ones, I guess, for sparring and stuff, it's okay. I mean, but I'll bite my damn tongue off.
Oh, yeah.
Those cheap ones, man. You can't breathe. And then that's part of it, too, is people don't understand. If you're fighting, you don't want to be having a malfunction with your cup or your jock strap. You don't want to be having a malfunction or messing with your mouth guard or your headgear if you're wearing headgear in the amateurs, because the more stuff you're messing with or playing with, you're not focused on the fight.
Definitely.
They're not focused. They're over here.
I got a cup story. So I was training over at All American, and I had a guy fighting at Oklahoma. There's a kid there. He's got no cup, no shorts to hold the cup,
No jock strap,
no
nothing.
jock strap. So he borrows a cup. We decide I'm just trying to save the kid a fight, right? They decide they're gonna put this cup on him. They tape it. They try to tape it.
Oh my god!
Mid fight, bro. Mid fight, like the cup moves and this guy gets his nuts squished.
Damn.
Like he ended up losing the fight, tapping to getting his nuts squished by the cup.
So was it from a kick or from wrestling?
No, he was on the ground. Like, and the guy was in his guard.
Oh shit!
And a cup moved.
So he's on his back.
Yeah.
And the guy's inside between his legs.
Yes, and the cup moved.
Wow.
And
and it's just smashing his junk.
Oh yeah.
That shit fucking hurts, man.
Yeah, he tapped to that. So I mean, I don't blame him.
Yeah, no, he's gonna lose a nut.
Yeah.
He'll lose one or two.
Yeah.
You might have to get him removed. I mean, you got to tap. You can't. Yeah. It's not worth losing your balls over.
Yeah. I got a lot of good Oklahoma MMA stories, but that's one of the best.
Wow, that's crazy, man. So he just tapped out, and that's crazy. So who taped up Did you tape him up?
I don't remember who taped.
Wow.
I think he had it. I wasn't gonna.
Did y'all take a photo of the tape job?
No,
I mean, I would have taken a photo because that's crazy. I never heard no shit like that before.
Yeah.
That's fucking nuts, man. And then for it to not move, did y'all use like duct tape, scotch tape?
I don't remember what he used.
What, athletic
I know
tape?
the cup didn't fit.
Wow.
He didn't have anything to keep it in place.
Yeah, guys, you got to have your stuff, man. Do a check. Especially the night of, do a check, and then the day of, make sure you got your mouth guard, your cup, your jock strap, your hand wraps, everything.
Yeah.
Go through that check, man, and check again, because as fighters, your mind's all over the place, dealing with emotions. So you got your family and friends supporting you. You got your haters talking shit. You got your own nerves. Man, just do your checklist. You don't want to be taped up.
Yeah, yeah. In the beginning, I've showed up to fights with missing something, and that sucks.
Yeah. I've been to fights where like the promotion forgot the gloves.
Oh shit!
You know what I'm saying?
I've never been to that.
Yeah, the promotion forgot the gloves, so they're asking. I think this might have been in Oklahoma too. They started asking the audience and asking the fucking even the fighters and the coaches, hey, do you guys have any spare gloves in your bags and stuff?
I know a lot of the promotions we fought for in Oklahoma, a lot of them have you bring your own gloves, which is unheard of in Texas.
It's fucking crazy, because what if somebody puts something in? They could put something metal in there. They could put some type of brick in there.
Yeah.
Rocks, whatever the fuck.
Yeah.
And that's why these organizations don't allow that, because they want to make sure everybody's using the same gloves. That way there's not a weight difference. That that way they know that the gloves haven't been tampered with. So yeah, that's crazy that they do that.
Yeah.
You bring your own or whatever. I think at that fight, they got lucky because one of the vendors was selling gloves.
Oh, okay.
And so they just fucking got a bunch of gloves from the vendor.
Yeah,
it worked out.
That's nice.
Yeah, it worked out in the end. But at first, people were having like mismatched gloves, and then I know one time they were just taking gloves off guys and using the same gloves for the next fight. Like, come on, man, we gotta use it. Yeah, we got to. But we were using like one pair.
Oh,
each side had one pair of gloves.
You can't warm up properly.
Yeah, you can't. Yeah, it's nuts. Some of the stuff you'll see at the smaller. Shows.
On the regional show, you definitely see
it's fucking ghetto, man. Some of those locker rooms and shit is dirt floors. It's
I've seen that.
Yeah,
definitely. The first show I ever matched, we were in Lufkin, Texas, and it was in a rodeo arena, and I don't like the walkway was dirt. I think we had a place to warm up and stuff like that, but. Man, I fought in a bar that was connected with the strip club in Oklahoma. Man, there's been some crazy places in Oklahoma. There's been some crazy places in Oklahoma. But yeah, man, we fought in some crazy places. It's been fun though.
Yeah,
we definitely have some stories.
Yeah. So what's one of the craziest stories that you've been through on the smaller shows besides the jockstrap incident?
I don't know about
Or just something that comes to mind
like that has to do
with anything.
No, I remember a guy in Oklahoma. What is it with Oklahoma? I remember a guy headbutting my fighter. He was in my fighter's guard and he's headbutting us on the chest. And my guy's looking at the ref like, bro, this is not legal. And they let it go.
Mm.
We fought for a title in Oklahoma, never got paid.
Damn.
Well, we waited like 6 months to get a portion of our pay.
Damn.
Because the promoter lost his ass. So I've been through that. I remember people making death threats to my fighter in New Mexico.
Damn.
Yeah, it's been some good stuff. Actually, I've had 2 issues where the promoter bounced on us for the money.
Wow.
Yeah.
That sucks, man.
It's tough. It's tough.
Yeah, especially if, these fighters, I mean, they don't make that much money anyways, as they're coming up. And, they're counting on that money to pay their bills. They borrowed money from people to keep fighting. They're sleeping on somebody's floor. People don't understand, man. A lot of these fighters are suffering until they make it, to a certain level, man.
If you're a business owner and you ever get the opportunity to sponsor a up and coming fighter on the regional level, please do so, because those guys don't make anything. A lot of them lose out. They lose money fighting on the regional level. So yeah, if you ever get that chance, please do.
It's all for a hope and a dream, man.
That's all it is.
It's a hope and a dream, and they hope to make it big one day, but they're struggling in the meantime. Some of these guys have kids. They all have bills. They have some of them have families, wives, and or husbands or whatever. But it's a tough way to make a living.
It's not easy at all.
It's a tough way to make a living. And you got to, there's fucking Spartan warriors, man, from back in the day.
Yeah.
Nothing to eat. They still got to do their road work, running, sit-ups, training.
Yeah, the ones that take it seriously, yeah.
They suck it up, man. No excuses.
Yeah,
they find a way.
I love the game, though. I love the game, no matter how hard it is.
Because it's real, man. It's one of the realest sports. One of the realest things in life is just
it's
fighting.
The closest thing you have to a street fight.
Yeah.
It's definitely.
Yeah, and what do you, in your opinion, what do you think the biggest differences are between like a sanctioned bout and let's say a street fight?
The people
as a fighter,
the people you're fighting in a sanctioned bout generally have more knowledge.
Yeah,
I mean they just have more knowledge. Jiu-jitsu is crazy. Jiu-jitsu for me is crazy. Wrestling, anybody can knock somebody out with a stupid punch, but I was listening to a podcast the other day, and Chris Brennan was like, if you're a blue belt in jiu-jitsu, then you're probably okay fighting somebody on the street.
Yeah,
you're going to be able to strangle them.
Yep.
So yeah, that's the difference. The difference is you could run into a wrestler or a jiu-jitsu guy in the street, and you're going to be fucked. Like in a sanctioned bout, you're fighting somebody who knows how to fight usually.
Right.
So
yeah, I think that's one of my biggest takeaways too. And then also too, people don't understand that it's much easier to fight in the street. If somebody insults your wife or insults your kids or cuts you off or runs you off the road or takes your gas pump that you were about to get that gas pump and they pull in and you get road rage, you can fight in a second.
Yeah. By the way, all those reasons are stupid reasons to fight.
There are stupid reasons to fight, but
it happens.
But it happens, and people, they're ready to go.
Yeah.
They go from 0 to 100 quick, and they're like, let's go, I'll whoop your ass. But whenever you have to schedule a bout to fight somebody, sign the agreement, sign the contracts, put it on the calendar.
Have time to think about it.
Sleep on it. Okay, how's he training? That's the mind fuck. That's what's harder about a sanctioned bout is the mind fuck and waiting for D-Day, waiting for the day that this shit is about to go down, losing sleep, having trouble, eating certain things, whatever it is.
I've been in a street fight and I've never thought once about it. Like
you just go.
You just go.
You just do it.
I felt stupid afterwards, right?
Yeah.
But after you sign that contract, man, I tell you what, I've never been in a fight where I was not nervous a little bit.
Oh yeah.
In a sanctioned bout, sanctioned bout. I couldn't stop looking. Like anytime I'm at a sanctioned bout, I'm about to fight, and I see my opponent somewhere, I'm like, fuck, I wonder, did he out-train me?
Right.
Did he train better than I did?
Right.
And a lot of my career, I was a journeyman. I was brought in to lose.
Right.
So like I knew the odds were against me.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it's a mind fuck.
Yeah.
Because you don't want to lose, even though you know you're not supposed to.
Right.
Like you want to go out there and prove everybody wrong, and then you're like, well, what if I just suck tonight? That's the worst.
And then having to deal with your emotions around your family. That's why a lot of fighters will go off to either Big Bear or they go off to some place in isolation or just with the guys because they don't want to be mean to their wife or their girlfriend or their kids or whoever because you're starving yourself. So you're already hangry. You haven't eaten. You're depleting yourself of sometimes even water because you're trying to cut water weight. So you're dehydrated. You're hungry. You're irritable. You're fucking nervous about the fight. You haven't been sleeping. You know, you got bills. And you don't want to be rude to your loved ones. So, but if you stay, then sometimes you'll be snapping at them. You're short with temper, and that's hard too, man.
Yeah, and a lot of guys on the regional circuit, they don't have that luxury of going away for camp.
Right.
So if
They're stuck.
If you're the significant other of a fighter, shout out to you because you guys put up with so much shit,
So much
and
bullshit.
You don't have to.
Yeah, they're like, just eat a fucking Snickers, man.
Yeah, I mean, even me as a coach, like my wife, I've had fighters in camp, and like my family has had to get the short end of the stick sometimes, just because I'm so busy with fighters and taking care of camp, matchmaking. They still have to put up with that stuff.
Yeah, your family has to be. They don't have to be, but a lot of them are supportive and they're patient and dealing with that.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's not fair because you're spending so much time and so much effort with some of these fighters and people that don't even appreciate it. Sometimes, that's what, and sometimes it's great to have the ones that do appreciate it.
Yeah.
Because then it makes it all worth it. But at the same time, you're still missing family time and all this stuff. And it's a tough sport, man, to deal with these different people's emotions. But that's my biggest thing is just, I remember my first fight, and you could probably touch on your first fight, what was going through your head as a first fight coaching a fighter and first fight like fighting. But for me, I remember the day before my first MMA fight, I couldn't sleep that night, and I was freaking the fuck out because I was like, if I don't sleep, I'm not going to do my best in the fight. Win, lose, or draw, most fighters, we just want to perform to the best of our ability. I don't care if I lose. I just want to be able to perform at the level I know I can. If the guy beats me, he's just better than me. There's nothing you can do about a fighter being better than you.
Usually, yeah.
But as long as I can perform, I'm going to be happy with my performance. Like, hey, I went out there, I did my best, I fought my ass off. I made the right moves. This guy was just better. He beat me, but I didn't want to lose because I didn't have any fucking sleep. And so I was already having trouble sleeping that week. The night of the fight comes, I'm, there and with my family, and I'm trying to sleep in the hotel room, and I couldn't sleep, and so I fucking took an entire bottle of melatonin, the whole thing, because I took some, nothing worked. I'm like, man, I'm still awake, and I just took more and more and more, and I just the whole bottle of melatonin
pills. Put
pills.
Yourself in a coma.
Man, it didn't even work.
Oh Lord,
it didn't even work. And then I at the end, because I was like, I don't want to take Benadryl because I don't want to wake up groggy. If you take Benadryl, I don't knock your ass out sometimes, or most of the time, don't take too much because that shit'll reverse on you and you'll be fucking wired like a motherfucker. You just gotta take, the correct amount that's on the bottle. You'll be fine. But I ended up taking some Benadryl eventually after I took the whole bottle of melatonin. I finally did sleep. I think I slept maybe 4 or 5 hours, which I was ready for anything. Any type of sleep. But that was my biggest thing, was just the nerves, man. I was just like, fuck, like, let's just do this shit already, like trying to sleep. It's like trying to sleep on Christmas as a kid, Christmas, the night before Christmas Day, it's hard to sleep because you're thinking about presents, you're thinking about,
Well, I'm Mexican. We don't do Christmas Day.
No? What do y'all do Christmas Eve?
Yeah.
Christmas Eve, well, you know what I mean. Just the day or before you open gifts or whatever. Shit, I remember growing up, we were so fucking poor. Most of the time, we didn't even have gifts on Christmas.
Been there.
But as a kid, you don't know. You're like, well, maybe there will be some gifts. Yeah. You know what I mean? And so you're still excited anyways. But just that's the hardest part, in my opinion. So of my first time fighting, that's what I went through.
I think when my first fight, I froze.
Yeah. Were you able to sleep the night before? Or?
Yeah, I think so. I don't remember not being able to sleep. My first fight coaching was an MMA fight.
Mm-hmm.
So on top of it being my first time to coach a fight, it was a pro fight. I also was brand new to MMA and I didn't know what the fuck was going on.
Damn.
I remember Rocky Long foot stomping Johnny Bedford. Shout out Rocky Long too. Um, foot stomping Johnny Bedford and they're foot stomping each other and I'm like, what the fuck is going on?
Stomping each other's feet.
Like I had already learned a little bit about jiu-jitsu, right?
Yeah.
So I knew that and wrestling. But I remember the first time I saw a foot stomp and I was like,
they're trying to break each other's toes.
Yeah, I was like, what are y'all doing?
Stomping on the feet. Yeah.
And then I found out that's a thing.
Yeah.
You don't see it too often anymore.
Not anymore. Yeah.
But yeah, that was a thing. And I was mind blown. I was mind blown.
Dang, yeah. Yeah. And then you said you froze your first fight. What, do you just like a deer in headlights? You just got so nervous on fight day you froze, or you froze like leading up to the weight?
I froze during the fight.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think I got stopped in the first round with a body shot. But I froze. I stayed tight and then I got a little bit too loose. And careless. I made a mistake.
Yeah.
And the guy caught me with the left hook to the body. Totally knocked. The referee was like, "Can you go?" And I still was trying to breathe because that never happened to me. And I was like, "Yeah." And he was like, "Yeah, you're good."
Damn. Yeah. Yeah. I've been taken out with a body shot in training, and you can't fucking breathe. You can't do anything. Your body shuts down. That's what people don't understand. Your body completely shuts down. You can't move. Oh. You can't do anything. You just go down like a ton of bricks, and you just gotta wait until it's over. Until your body.
And it doesn't just go away.
Yeah.
It does not just go.
Yeah,
away.
It takes time, man. Like you might be there. You might be on the ground for a minute or two. You know, I mean, you're done. Like your body, it's like getting shot or something. You're just like pow, and then you're on the ground. You can't fucking move. They call out the fight, and you're like, I want to move. I can't get the fuck up. My body shut down.
Yeah, it. I can't even explain it. It just sucks.
Yeah,
it sucks. You literally feel like you're suffocating.
Yeah, you feel like, am I going to be able to breathe again? Like,
yeah. And I already have anxiety, so it just makes it even worse.
Yeah, you're like, this is how I'm gonna fucking die like this. And all these people from this body shot, I'm never gonna get my breath back. And then when it comes, you're like, oh, fuck, you know,
it's terrible.
Just waiting. You're just like, and then they're like touching you, shaking you, and come on, man, you know, you're all right, and you're just like, yeah, it's it sucks. Yeah, it's so after that loss, I mean, going back, I mean, what did you think about after that?
After what? After I lost?
Yeah, after your first loss in that fight, like, did you like want to get right back in there? Was it more of a mind fuck after that too? Or?
Nah, I was really down on myself. I'm not even sure. That might have been. I may have did the Ronda Rousey, lost the fight and I didn't fight for a long time. Until I started coaching again. I think that's what happened, if I remember correctly. Like I lost, and I was like, maybe I'd rather smoke and drink instead. Terrible idea, guys.
So were you fighting growing up as a kid? Were you getting into a lot of fights, street fights, nothing like that? No,
I was an athlete, bro.
That's awesome, man. The baseball. So what position did you play?
Pitched and played second base.
Nice.
Yeah,
that's awesome, man. I was fucking terrible at baseball.
I was not great. I was good. So
I was like opposite of all that. I was the worst baseball player on the planet.
To this day, I can still watch baseball on TV. I love baseball. I've never had a bad day at the baseball park.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
So do you still go and play sometimes, like some softball?
Oh, I played a few years back. We used to play in a beer league on Friday nights. I was not even good then anymore. I was starting to get old. Used to get too drunk to play any good, but we had fun.
Yeah,
we had fun. I haven't played softball in years, so nowadays it's just fighting. It's just fighting. Everything is boxing or mixed martial arts.
So, what do you like coaching better? Fighters at MMA or fighters at boxing or bare knuckle? Or
I like coaching mixed martial artists.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You like doing MMA?
I just like this. I mean, I love boxing. I always love boxing. I think just mixed martial artists. That's what I'm around. That's what I know now. So, and I don't even know everything about that. You know, I love going to Next Generation every week. I go over there twice a week, maybe sometimes 3. I love going over there. I get to learn so much, even though I'm not even doing it. I can watch Chris Brennan and Austin. Austin's the striking coach over there for the team. I just do private training with some of the guys. But I could listen to those guys teach all day. I'm always learning something new. And then sometimes even my fighter, Lucas Brennan, like the guy's a wizard on the ground, a wizard. So you never know what's going to happen at those practices. Something crazy is always happening.
That's dope, man. That's for the love of the sport,
Yeah, I love mixed martial arts.
Yeah.
There was a time I never would have thought I'd say that. Yeah. I remember when I used to have friends who used to watch UFC, and you couldn't get me to sit down and watch it.
I refused. I wouldn't watch it because I grew up boxing and watching like the Rocky movies and play boxing with my dad, just playing around with my brothers, stuff like that. And to me, boxing was the end all be all of martial arts. People would talk about wrestling, and I don't give a fuck about that. People would talk about MMA. What back in the day, I think they called it no holds bars or anything goes or whatever the fuck.
Yeah.
Instead of, they didn't call it MMA back then. But I would refuse to watch. I remember my buddies would get like the bootleg VHS cassettes for the VCR, and they would get those, either bootleg them or they would find a way to get them because you had to be an adult to get those videos.
Yeah, I remember watching the first one on VHS.
I wouldn't even watch.
I watched one and it's like, okay, I didn't get into it. And that was like the first one.
I didn't even want to see it. Like they'd have it on and I would purposely like turn. I'm like, I'm not going to look at this bullshit. I'm not going to look at these guys doing magic and kung fu. Because I didn't understand. Magic. I didn't understand that. I thought they were doing magic. I thought these motherfuckers were doing like some black magic voodoo shit. Like you see in the movies. You know what I mean? Like carrying up buckets of water up a mountain and fucking learning to fucking float in the air, and shit like that. I thought, I was like, man, these guys, I guess you got to go live in a cave and train with this fucking Chinese kung fu master, and learn all these secrets. But in reality, it's just fighting, man. It's just training and fighting and learning technique. That's all fighting is. I don't care if it's wrestling, MMA, jiu-jitsu, Muay Thai, boxing, whatever. It's you train, you eat right, you drink plenty of water, you exercise, you get plenty of sleep. It's just like any other workout.
Yeah.
And you get out of it what you put into it. But back in the day, everything was so mystical. You see like the no touch shit, or the fucking Jedi bullshit.
I've seen all those things be debunked.
Yeah, it's bullshit. And then, but I didn't understand that. So I'm like, man, I'm going to stick with boxing because I know boxing's legit. I know that's where you do your road work, you run, you hit the bags, you spar, you practice. All this other mystical shit, I don't know about it. I don't want to know about it. And so I would do, hey, man, we got UFC 1 or UFC 2 on VHS. We're going to watch it. And I'm like, nah, I'm good. Because I think when UFC first came out, I was 12 years old. It was like November. I think it came out like November 12th, 1993.
Yeah, wait.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, we were. We know. I'm thinking, man, this guy's old. But then I realized
we're the same age, motherfucker.
I was like,
it came out.
I just realized, I was like, shit, I was that old.
Yeah, it came out 2 days before my birthday. 2 days before I turned 13. Hoist Gracie, shout out to Hoist Gracie. He's going to be coming out doing a seminar for us real soon at Street Jitsu, one of our Street Jitsu locations. Yeah, he came out a few years ago and we had a great seminar. He's a great dude. I met him. He's a legend of the sport. He's the one who fucking brought it to what it, he was the first fucking UFC champion. He won UFC 1, UFC 2, UFC 4. He had to bow out at UFC 3. I think he broke a rib or something, or broke a foot. I don't remember, but anyways,
that's one of the legends I'm glad I got to meet.
Yeah.
I got to meet him and Henzo together.
Yeah, I never met
at a Bellator show. Man, nice. Bellator, that's the best thing about Bellator. I've got to meet some cool guys. I got to meet Fedor. I got to meet both of those Gracie guys. It's been so dope.
Yeah. So dope. And what do you think your first jiu-jitsu class that you ever took? What did you think about that?
I hated it. I was like, I didn't know what the hell was going on.
Yeah.
And I was not in bad shape. I remember being in shape to fight a 6-round fight. And for some reason, I couldn't go 2 minutes on the mat.
Yeah. It's a different sport, man.
It's like
people don't realize it.
It's like first time having sex all over again. It's like, can't go 2 minutes. You know?
Yeah. Say, I sometimes I still have that problem. I still have that problem, man. You know?
But jujitsu was it was tough, man. But over the years, I don't play jujitsu as much as I'd like to.
Mm.
I generally make too many excuses. I need to get off my ass. The one of my goals this year is to get off my ass and do more jujitsu.
But it's a different sport. People don't realize it. They're like, "Oh, I did boxing, or I did this or that." Man, it's too. Once you're on the ground, that's comparing, running track to swimming.
But
It's completely different.
But I think it's vice versa. I think jujitsu players have a
Yes,
hard time.
yes, absolutely, yes. Every sport is different.
That's what makes mixed martial arts so awesome, right?
Yes.
Because like breathing patterns, the different breathing patterns and techniques
And the muscle groups are
required
different.
for each sport
Yep.
are different, right?
Yes.
So you have to change those in the middle of a fight. You could be boxing or striking, right? And then all of a sudden you're fucking wrestling, and you're using different muscles slightly, and your breathing techniques are going to change a little bit. And man, it's like you have to switch that without even it's almost an unconscious effort.
Yes.
So that's tough
because it's different than a triathlon. A triathlon is similar, right? So let's say you start out running, right, and then you got to jump in the ocean and swim, and then the last part of it is riding a bike. But there's still separate things that you're doing. Where in MMA, it'd be like a triathlon would be like, okay, I'm running, and all of a sudden somebody throws a bike at me in the middle of my run, and I got to start riding that motherfucker. Then they push me off the bike, and all of a sudden I have to dive in this river, and I'm swimming in the river, and then they yank me out of the river, and I'm back running again. Then they push me back in the ocean, and then they grab me and they throw me back in the bike all at the same time. Like you're just like grabbing.
And I still think that would be easier.
That still would be easier. And now they're throwing you the bike, and now you got to ride the bike under the water.
Oh,
that's
shit.
MMA.
There you go.
You know what I'm saying? That's MMA.
Go.
It's like fucking shit. What are we doing?
Yeah.
And it's like take a football player and he's running on the field, and then you just grab him mid run and be like, hey, put on these ice skates and start skating. This motherfucker's like, I don't know how to ice skate, motherfucker. I know how to run on the field. You know, and then they grab him and throw him into, play basketball, or they throw him into whatever, and that's MMA, man. It's like you got to be able to navigate that shit, and it's different. You could get the best hockey player, doesn't mean he's going to be the best football player, doesn't mean he's going to be the best basketball player, the best baseball player. And so you got guys doing, maybe they're great at boxing, and then you bring them to jiu-jitsu, or vice versa. You get them from jiu-jitsu, you bring them to boxing. The biggest thing I've seen that jiu-jitsu guys have trouble with is getting hit in the face. And that's why I'll tell people, some guys have good jiu-jitsu for MMA, because they'll sit there and do their fucking armbar or their whatever, and you could be hitting them and they're not going to deviate from the plan. But the guys that just have a jiu-jitsu only background, even if you fucking just rear up to hit, they start making bad reactions because they're not used to getting hit. Just if you flinch at them, they'll give up, they'll let go of their arm. I've seen guys let go of arm bars, let go of chokes. And I'm like, what the fuck are you doing? Just because he's hitting you, you got that fucking arm, take it, man. But they start getting hit, they let go, they start freaking the fuck out. So I think it's good when guys come from a striking background. They're not afraid of getting hit. And then all you're doing is teaching them jiu-jitsu. I think it's an easier transition sometimes than the guys that, like Brock Lesnar, for example, when he fought Cain Velasquez.
Yeah, that's where we'll disagree. I started off in this game training wrestlers.
Yeah.
And the wrestlers for me, the wrestlers have always been the tougher guys.
Yeah.
And they also, for me, they transition better to striking than strikers transition to
wrestling. Yeah, I see that as far as for wrestling. For
maybe that's just my experience.
For jiu-jitsu, it's different. And because wrestlers and jiu-jitsu guys, it's a whole different thing. Jiu-jitsu, you're using more technique. It's more considered the gentle art. You got
wrestlers are using technique.
And then but the wrestlers, man, they're fucking dogs, man. Wrestlers train like MMA fighters, so that's a different transition. They're doing, sprawls. They're fucking shooting shots. They're climbing ropes. You go to any high school gym, wrestling gym. These guys are training like they're flipping tires. They got sledgehammers. Usually jiu-jitsu, you don't have all that. They're starting to incorporate a lot of that training now for jiu-jitsu. But back in the day, they're throwing on their gi. They're just, training. But pajama parties, pretty much, but the training.
Shout out pajamas, because I love the gi.
I love training jiu-jitsu, man. I love
Sorry,
jiu-jitsu.
Chris Brennan.
I love gi. I love training. I love all of it, man. I love Muay Thai. I love boxing. I love wrestling. But wrestlers, man, like you said, they're the fucking, they're the pit bulls.
I think they're the most dominating art in mixed martial arts?
The reason being is there's a couple of things in my opinion for that. One is the reason they do so well with striking is they're not afraid of the fight getting to the ground. Plus, they're not afraid of striking because they dictate where the fight's going to take place. If you go up against a good wrestler, he's going to be like, you know what, we're going to the ground. Boom, now your guys are on the ground. You know what? You try to take down a really good wrestler, you're not going to get that motherfucker down. He's like, nah, we're standing up, bitch. Yeah. We're boxing this out. So they have that advantage. Wrestlers decide for the most part if you guys are going to stand, if you guys are going to go to the ground anytime they want, basically. They're like, they can just change it up. A lot of guys are learning like wrestling defense and stuff like that, which is nice. But they don't have that fear because, and not only that, if you engage with a wrestler, if a wrestler can touch you, they're happy. So if you stand there and trade with them and box with them, they want that brawl because now they can just grab you and take you down or throw you. So I think, like you said, they have a good advantage. The other thing I think they have an advantage for MMA is because they changed they don't let you stay on the ground like they used to in the early days of the UFC. You only have a few minutes to work. And it's so hard to submit some of these guys who have been training. They are trained. It's easy to submit somebody who hasn't trained, doesn't know how to fucking fight or anything. Yeah. But you got guys who's been training and they're sweaty, and you got 30 seconds in the ground or 60 seconds in the ground to submit them before the ref stands you up. It's probably not going to happen.
A lot of times, yeah.
And then a lot of guys will stall out waiting for the ref to stand them back up, which they don't do that for the jiu-jitsu guys. If they have the two guys standing, they're not going to say, "Hey, you guys go to the ground," so the jiu-jitsu guy to submit you. But if there's two guys fighting on the ground and the referee's like, you know what, there's not enough action going, let me stand you back up. The jiu-jitsu guy, he doesn't have enough time to work. That's the downside of jiu-jitsu is you need time to work. You're a grappler. If they give you enough time, you can submit a lot of guys. Yeah. But you have to have, and how much time do you need? Hey, sometimes Royce Gracie might have needed an hour, 2 hours to choke somebody out. And it's the same, in jiu-jitsu, you might need that, but you can't do that. It's a sport. You can't have two guys in the fucking cage for 3 hours while this guy locks up a submission. Yeah. The fans want to see it. It's a sport.
It's not made for the uneducated fan.
And that's
the majority of mixed martial arts.
Uneducated fans. Yeah. They don't know what the fuck's going on.
They're uneducated. I was listening to same podcast, man. Chris Brennan was interviewing Sean Patrick Flannery, who's also a jiu-jitsu guy, and they were talking about watching a fight in Japan, like people cheering when they were doing stuff on the ground. Mm-hmm. And he actually was talking about a fight card that was in the United States somewhere, I think, and they were cheering for maybe it was Mexico. No, it was Brazil. It was Brazil. This last card with Brandon Moreno, mm-hmm. when the fight went to the ground and the fans were cheering. Mm-hmm. It's because they understood.
They understood, yeah.
Yeah, a lot of Americans that don't train jiu-jitsu, they just want to see blood.
Right. They just want to see violence.
Yes.
They want to be entertained.
Yes. So when it goes to the ground, a lot of my boxing friends are like, "Oh, that's boring." It's like, yeah, you just don't understand it.
You don't understand it. I get it. They grew up watching fucking Power Rangers and Ninja Turtles and where everybody's kicking and punching. Yeah. And to be honest, the kicking and punching and the fucking spinning kicks and all that shit is more exciting to watch. It is for most people.
I'm a boxing fan, bro, but if I tell Chris this all the time. It's like, man, when Lucas gets on the ground, I just shut up and enjoy.
Yes, because I appreciate it.
I can appreciate
but you're in the minority.
I am. I definitely am. I can appreciate, man, when that kid's on the ground, like, it's just so fucking smooth.
It's like chess, right? People who play can appreciate it and they can sit there and watch guys play chess. But if you don't,
chess players.
Shout out chess. Hey, I got that fucking chess piece right here. But but if you don't spend the time to understand it and you see two guys playing, it's boring as fuck. You're like, God damn, look at these guys playing chess. It's boring because they don't understand it. But if you understand it and you play it and you know what's going on, it's exciting as fuck. You can see the moves and stuff. And it just, it's just going to take some educating the fans. And as the sport grows, you got little kids training MMA from like 4 years old.
Yeah, it's definitely going to grow.
It's going to keep growing.
It's going to grow. I think the fan bases will start to be more educated on the sport. And I think hopefully eventually there won't be so many boos when they're on the ground.
So That's true too. That sucks when that still happens. It's 2023, and a lot of fans still are educated about the ground fighting. I mean, there's about to be a strangulation or armbar, something cool.
Yeah.
If you're given enough time, because grapplers are like snakes. If anybody who has a snake and you have a snake aquarium and you have a snake and you put that rat or whatever in there, it's going to take them. You might have to walk away and come back because it might take that snake hours to grapple that creature, to hold on to it, to slow it down, and to suffocate it, and eventually kill it and eat it. It might take hours. Even out in the wild, you got a python or something, it might grab a cow, and it might take 24 hours to kill that cow, or even longer to kill it and eat it. And the same, so grapplers just need time.
Yeah.
Jiu-jitsu guys need time. If you give a jiu-jitsu guy enough time, he can get the job done. The problem is with it, MMA is a sport now, where back in the UFC days there was no time limit, so they had time. So that's why the jiu-jitsu guys were winning and winning and winning, because there's no time. You can fucking just hold the guy in your guard as long as you want, hit him with your little heel kicks to the kidneys, and just hug him for an hour until he wears out. Because when a jiu-jitsu guy has you wrapped up, try to break out of that shit. It's damn near impossible to get free.
Oh yeah.
It's like having chains on your body or being tied up. You can't get out. And they'll hold you, and if they have enough time, they can hold you for an hour or 90 minutes to where they cook you slowly, like Henzo says. They cook you and then they kill you, right? Yeah. Hickson says that, I think, as well. So if you give them enough time, but they stand it up. Hey, you had 30 seconds, stand up. All right, now the guy's hitting you in the face again, kicking you, fucking slamming you with a wrestling throw or a wrestling takedown. So it's different, but I think jiu-jitsu is still an important part of MMA. And then guys are getting faster at submissions now too, man. Like these guys like Lucas and these guys, they don't need as much time in them because they're always innovating, and they're slick.
Yeah,
man.
I've seen Lucas in somebody's guard and then turn around and look back and he's on their back.
Yes, like that. In a matter of seconds, they're getting so good, so fast.
Yeah.
And it's creating these guys. You see these guys, they're doing like flying arm bars and flying triangles and just fucking, jumping past people's guard into a triangle, into an armbar. Like
shout out flying omoplata,
flying gogo platas, all that shit, man. I won't be doing any of that stuff.
I'm too old for that. Yeah, my body doesn't work like that. But it's a fantasy.
Hey, the basics work, man. Basics work in boxing. Basics work in jiu-jitsu.
In any sport.
In any sport, you see guys like Hadra Gracie, one of the greatest jiu-jitsu fighters of all time. That's all he did was basics.
Yeah.
Basics. Close guard, half guard, like the most basic fundamentals of,
I keep bringing him up because I see him do it so much, but like Lucas, like he does the most subtle things, but they're all just basic movements that his dad has taught him over the years, that he's learned over the years through all his coaches. But people forget to do them. So when people, as they progress, sometimes they forget the basics. And I think that's what makes what he does so awesome. It's because he just gets where he needs to be by basic movements, countering your movements with the basic counters, and then before you know it, he's where you don't want him.
He has a solid foundation. Foundation.
It's ridiculous,
right?
Bro.
Solid.
I could watch that kid grapple every day if I had the opportunity.
That's awesome, man. I can't wait to see what he, just watching him come up in the sport and keep getting better, and he's still getting better.
I think he's only like 22.
22, man.
Maybe
so
23.
Sky's the limit,
22,
man.
though.
Sky's the limit, man. And he can do it all. He can strike, he can grapple, he can wrestle, he can do jiu-jitsu, he can do Muay Thai, he can do boxing. He's well-rounded.
Yeah, his striking's only improving daily. Now at Next Gen they have Austin Ford, who used to be over at Glory MMA over with James Krause. Austin's over here, so now Lucas has a full-time striking coach on top of working with myself. So his striking is just it's getting so good.
So do you have any superstitions or anything for your fighters that you tell them? Because I know back in the day, like even my coaches, they were like, "Hey, stay away from the girls." Before a fight, you don't want to have.
I don't believe in that.
Your weakened legs because you're having sex and you're getting rid of your testosterone. You don't believe in that? Yeah,
I don't believe in that.
Wait, you just tell them just the basics, like no drinking, no smoking.
Yeah, just don't be stupid.
Just don't be stupid. Yeah. Take care of your body.
Just don't be stupid. You know what's right. You know what's wrong.
Yeah.
I mean, as far as sex goes, I don't believe in that. I don't believe athletes screw themselves by having sex.
Right.
I think it was Will Chamberlain had so many great nights the night after having a lot of sex.
Right.
So, I don't believe in any of that.
Yeah, you hear fighters talk. I think.
Now, I don't believe in it now. Did I believe in it when I was a fighter? Yes.
Oh yeah. So you would you would hold off.
Yeah, I would try.
We're like 3 months, 3 days.
Nah, I don't know
3
about
weeks.
that long.
How long?
I don't remember. Maybe a week or two.
A week or two. That seems like forever too, especially when you're married and
It
stuff.
does.
A week or two, man, and you're sleeping next to your girl every night, you know, and you're having to resist, especially when they're the ones initiating, and you got to tell them like, "Hey, babe, I got a fight coming up. I can't do." It's so hard to do, man.
Yeah.
You know, and then you have it in the back of your mind too, leading up to the fight. Like, damn, I've been having sex every night. This, leading up to the fight.
No, I never thought about that.
No, it never bothered you?
I never worried about that. I just worried about, was I going to perform that day? I didn't worry about why. I just like, let's just go out there and fight smart. Let's just not go look like an idiot.
Right.
That's pretty much the only thing I worried about.
Yeah.
I just didn't want to look like an idiot.
What I tell my fighters now is I'm like, guys, as long as you're not staying up all night smashing.
Yeah.
You know, if you're staying up all night, I don't care what you're doing the next day. Even if you might not even be fighting, you might have to do fucking, work, paperwork or something, and you're not going to be able to think clearly because you were up all night having sex.
If you're staying up all night having sex, I want to know what the fuck you're doing, because.
Okay, even if it's up all night watching movies, you know what I'm saying? You're not sleeping. You should be sleeping. You should be getting rest. You should be.
I mean, at 42, my body's not built for that all night shit. Yeah. Nope.
Well, and also too is like, I think as you get older, you know how to get to where you need to be a lot quicker. And my
Are you talking about jujitsu?
Shit, I'm talking about the sex thing. Is I don't, I just like, why should it take an hour or 2 hours or 3 hours or all night? Man, I don't got time for that shit. Man, I'm trying to
go to sleep.
Exactly. Let's get this shit done.
Yeah.
So you learn those little things, as you get older, but no, I think all night means like you just can't sleep. You take breaks, whatever. You just can't sleep. You keep snuggling. You keep talking. You keep whatever. Then you have sex again. Take another break. No. Rafael's
my wife's going to sleep as soon as we're done. My wife sleeps.
Yeah,
she sleeps.
That's the best. To me, that's the best when you both can.
I'm at the age now. I used to not be able to sleep. I sleep a whole lot better as I'm getting older.
Yeah,
maybe it's because I get up at 4:30 in the morning.
That's what it is. That's because you're getting up at 4:30.
But come nighttime, man, and then especially now, just trying to work on being more productive during the day and stuff like that. Like, I sleep a whole lot better. Like, I used to wake up. I used to take a nap during the day. Which right now, if you've seen me, if you've been watching this, you've been watching me fucking yawn. I'm tired. And this is my nap time.
Oh yeah.
This is generally when I start to get tired, when my body starts to say, "Bro, you need to rest. You need to close your eyes."
Yeah.
And I would try to take like a 20 minutes to an hour nap. And I'm trying to do less of that. So when we're done here, I'm going to cook instead of and meal prep instead of take a nap, maybe. But yeah, I don't take any more naps. So at 42 now, when 9:30 hits and I'm going to bed, I'm asleep a whole lot faster.
Yeah, sleep's important, man. Yeah. Sleep is so important for fighters. I mean, you need it, man. That's when your body heals itself. That's when your body creates those gains that you want. Gains in whether it's timing, reaction, muscles, everything, man.
Yeah.
And just letting your body heal. That's when your body does its most healing and getting better is sleep. And if you're a fighter or you're a coach, make sure you're getting your sleep, man. Figure it out. Go do a sleep study, whatever you got to do to get it done. Or wake up at 4:30 like Rafael's doing.
I wake up at 4:30 because I've paid attention to what I do, and for me, I'm more productive in the morning. My most productive time of my day is from 4:30 in the morning to noon.
Nice.
Because I used to take so many naps. Like at 2:00, I get tired and I wanted to sleep. But I get the most done between 4:30 and noon.
Yeah. Yeah, that's hard to do, but you can do it. People can do it.
I had to learn. Like my wife's been getting up at 4:30, 4:00, 4:30 for years, and I would be the guy to sleep just 10 minutes before I had to leave.
Oh yeah.
Right. But now my daily routine is 4:30.
And so you're telling me that you're doing like a new, because it's January, or now it's February, but it's the beginning of the year. People are wanting to, get in shape and things like that and be more healthy. And you're doing something called.
I've been working, doing the 75 hard. Um, I tried it one time. I got to 8 days and I failed it and I stopped. This last time I got to the 15th day and I screwed up on my diet and I stopped a couple of days, but I started again. I'm back on day one today. So that's tough too. That takes a lot of my energy.
Yeah. So what is 75 hard? I've been hearing a lot about that.
It's a program kind of built to help you get better at mental toughness, create better habits and stuff like that, to create a better lifestyle for yourself. And I have to, every morning I start up, first thing I do is take a progress picture because it's part of the thing. I have to read 10 pages of a nonfiction book every day. I have to drink a gallon of water every day, and I'm about to have to go piss because I'm halfway through that gallon. I have to follow a diet. I can have no alcohol, and I have to do 2 workouts a day, 45 minutes minimum, one inside, one outside. So,
and it's for 75 days straight.
75 days straight. No cheat meals, no days off. If you mess up one of those things, you have to start over.
Oh, your 75 days starts over.
Yes.
Damn.
That's why I got up the other day. I'm a snacker.
Mm-hmm.
I got up in the middle of the night. I went to piss, and without even thinking, I took a handful of chocolate chips, just the chocolate chips, and I ate them. And I was like, the next day, I had to start over.
Damn, that's hardcore. But it's accountability, and I'm sure you're already seeing results because it is.
Yeah,
it is so hardcore.
I was already seeing results. This weather, I kind of made excuses for myself, which I feel terrible about now. But I was talking to a friend last night, and he was like, I was gonna wait till Monday. He's like, no, just get the fuck back on it tomorrow. So
yeah,
that's what I did.
That's it, man. Just get back on the bike. That's it. You fall off, you just got to get back. That's life.
Yeah,
and
I think that's what the program's about.
Yeah, you just gotta. It's whether you're training for a fight or work or relationships, whatever, man. You just, all right. I fucked up. I screwed up. Let's start over.
Yeah, and that's what I do every day.
Yeah,
every day. Whether I fuck up or not, every day. Yesterday doesn't even matter anymore.
Yeah,
like I just worry about today.
Yeah, I love it, man. I love that. If you guys are watching this, especially these up and coming fighters or coaches or maybe just in your life, man, every day you can start again. That's what God bless us with is you can always say right now is the time, today's the day, any moment you can make a change and be like, all right, I'm gonna do this.
Yeah,
today.
I mean, the change, you can decide to make the change. The change probably is not going to happen overnight, but one of my friends has been preaching big time on creating new habits, because we are our habits, right?
Yep.
And if my habit is to get up every morning and drink whiskey, then I'm probably not going to be very productive every day.
Nope.
Right? If my habit is to get up every day and read and go work out, then I'm probably going to be a little bit more productive.
Yeah.
So
that's it, man.
I go work out and I try to set a daily task list every day now. I try to check those things off as I go through the day. And I find I'm a whole lot more productive and I feel a whole lot better about myself after doing those type of things.
Well, that sounds like a good time to cut off. I know you got to pee. I got to pee.
I got to piss bad.
Yeah. And then, guys, I'll have the description in the description link of how you can get a hold of Rafael if you want to get a hold of him for training or private lessons or a different podcast or whatever. I'll have all his contact information there. So
yeah,
that's it, baby.
Thanks for watching, guys.
Thank you, bro. Oospa.